Vayner Nation, how are you? Welcome to episode 16 of Podcast with Friends. We've got a really good episode for you. Sorry about my voice. I've got some, between the Knicks game last night and having a cold, I've got some new version of my voice, excuse me, but that does not deter me. There's no sick days in Vaynerland. We're going to have a remarkable show here, and I've got three tremendous gentlemen here who will be contributing. Big shout out to everybody on YouTube Live right now, which I'm excited about. Danny Meadows in the building, living in Delaware in the building, Keith Gill in the building, Love Changes in the building, and there are three humans in the building, at least at this table, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Gabe, start us off, my guy.
My name is Gabe P. I'm the founder, CEO, all that good stuff of On the Radar Radio, On the Radar Records. You might have seen some of our viral freestyles, performances, all that. We were just talking about Zeddy Will, who had an incredible record with Cha Cha, kind of remaking that. We've had Drake on the show this past year. We helped break Ice Spice, 4-1. Very implemental and very important to like just the hip hop music scene in general, but also specifically New York. You know, like Cash Cobain, Charlie, all of the incredible artists who are making noise and kind of bringing that like positive and enjoyable feeling back to New York music. We've been a part of. I guess that's like the quick little spiel about
I love that.
OTR.
We'll get deeper in a minute.
Yeah.
My man?
Chris Hetherington. I'm the CEO of Fathead. Grew up in Connecticut, right outside New Haven. Stayed local for college, went to Yale, played football and baseball. Played in the NFL 11 years, technically for 6 teams. Retired in 2007, worked for a hedge fund for 11 years, bunch of different roles. Went the entrepreneur route about 4 years ago, and then was in the right place at the right time to acquire Fathead, this iconic brand, with some partners and investors, and looking to take it to new heights.
I love it.
Incredible.
Yeah, Fathead is iconic.
Yeah.
Do you have a Fathead? You should.
I did, and then Chris took over, and now we're in the middle of a negotiation.
I like it. I like it. Maybe we'll get a real negotiation right here live on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm down.
Paul.
Paul Rabel, I've known Gary for 10 years. He took a meeting on a DM. Remember that? I had no hair on my sides. I just do a skin fade up to a 2. And I played professionally here in New York in a league called Major League Lacrosse. My wage was $15K for the season. MLL was on par at one point with MLS and UFC in way of viewership in America in 2001. And then they skyrocketed and we plateaued, and that times dipped, where the history of lacrosse in America, it's the native game. It's been played for 1,000 years, has product market fit at the college level, participation. We're back in the Olympics. So myself and my brother started a new league called the Premier Lacrosse League in 2019. We brought all the best players over to the league overnight. Gary's been, as I said, sort of a mentor and friend, and we chop it up in sports business pretty regularly. So good to be back here with you.
It's good to have you here. All right, let's go back around the ring. Let's start with the thing that excites you the most in your business and venture right now. Let's start there. Thing that excites you the most.
I think changing lives. I actually got a DM today from someone who we just had on the show a couple days ago, and he's an upcoming artist from Atlanta. His name's 10K Duncan. A different type of sound coming out of Atlanta. It's very underground, sound cloudy. And they have like this whole little wave going on right now that's kind of like it's building up. But he hit me, and after we posted his freestyle, got like 100,000 views on Twitter and went pretty big on Instagram. And something that he said to me was that he appreciated the opportunity and the platform, because he said that a lot of people would overlook him because of his following and maybe the sound, because it's a very niche sound and something that's not, I guess, quote unquote, traditional to what a mainstream hip hop artist would sound like, and something that a lot of people in the mainstream fan base would not be familiar with or would understand for the most part. And he was just very appreciative of me bringing all these eyes to him and creating more opportunities for him to succeed in this music. And another artist that my good friend right behind me, Calvin, brought, the Delivery Boys. They're from Brooklyn, but they live in LA. They're a group of artists together. Super incredible group of artists, and very, very interesting if you ever get to meet them. They've been doing a lot of label meetings now because of their On the Radar cipher that went viral after they were rapping over Coldplay's Viva La Vida. What was the Kesha song that he rapped over?
Heartbeat.
The drum, yeah. But like, so they rapped over a bunch of like classic or modern day classic, I guess if you want to say, like instrumentals that was super kind of like polarizing to a lot of hip hop fans. But because of that, they've gotten a lot of eyes on them. They're getting label meetings, distribution meetings. all incredible things like that. And some of them that we're also working directly with to distribute their music through the On the Radar DSPs as well too. So also providing opportunities through there. So that's what I feel like has been like the most beautiful part of
Putting
this
people,
journey.
you know, you've done the hard work to get audience, and now you're using that to put people on.
Right, and also, you know, and putting out music with them too to help build
Sure.
our audience, to include,
Yeah, of
keep
course.
build our streaming audience, and
Yeah, I think
do
the
On the Radar
greatest
records.
things in the world. I know enough about you. This is gonna land with both of you, and like we're getting to start to chop a little bit. Like the best thing in the world is when you can balance selfless and selfish behavior.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. Like I hate that people don't understand that you can do good for you and good for others. Like people are so incredibly confused. The world is obsessed with or when it's always and.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a line that I think about pretty regularly. I'm not going to convince you to like what I do. I'm going to show you how much I love what I do.
It's funny. I have a big thing that I say all the time in my content. I'm not convincing anyone. I just have conviction in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Same shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not interested in... Actually, I think it's one of the great flaws of modern society. Everyone's so obsessed in convincing everybody else to see the world the way they see it. This is why we have so much drama.
Convincing is a
if
drag too, isn't it?
Bro,
It's de-energizing.
it's as if your point of view in the world, everybody in this room, let alone everyone watching and let alone the millions that will listen over the next decade to this, every one of us has different circumstances.
yeah.
People are like, Gary, like I remember somebody the other day said something to me and they were like, aren't you upset? I'm like, how can I be upset that that person thinks that my cursing is offensive? She grew up in the South. I didn't know this about her, but I'm like, I should bet you she grew up in the South with a grandma that made cursing demon, and that's it.
What's that?
Right?
Yeah.
Everyone grows up different.
Yeah.
Everyone sees shit different. Everyone votes on a different issue, and everyone goes through different life
Totally.
cycles. Plus, we ourselves in this room change our opinions.
Yeah.
You're allowed to change your mind.
Yeah.
Shit changes.
Yeah, and by the way, we hope that we reach a point in our lives at some point where we can reevaluate everything that was told to us to be true.
Right.
You know, we didn't choose our parents. We didn't choose the school if we were lucky enough to go to. Our friends were in our neighborhood that we didn't choose to grow up in.
We definitely didn't
Religion,
look
politics.
Look at you two.
It's decided
we
for
didn't
you.
decide. You guys were born with athletic upside. You had to put in a lot. Like, I hate when people are like, oh, no, there's real work that goes into
Right.
maximizing that upside, especially for a character like you,
Yeah.
knowing your story. But the reality is like, I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to get a tangent. Chris, go ahead, brother. What's you got a lot going on,
so
right?
many things
You're
I'm
living
excited about.
a life that I want to be living. One of my great dreams when I started this company was to buy iconic brands that were in limbo or on the downside and rise them up like a fucking phoenix.
Yeah.
I mean, my brother's era, so I'm 48, like 10 years, like the 38-year-old crew right now, every one of those fuckers had a fat head in their room.
Yeah.
That if you're listening right now and you're 28 to 38 and your family can afford it, you had a fucking fat head on your wall.
I
of
go. I
some
think I had
player.
like I had a Derek Jeter one.
Yeah,
I
of
think,
course.
and then I think I had like, if I'm not mistaken at the time, because I come from a Puerto Rican household, so it might have been like a fake one off from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But I definitely might have had like a Star Wars one at the time.
Yeah, it was probably,
maybe.
They probably got it at the flea market.
Yeah,
it
like-
was like hat head.
Yeah,
you know.
if you've been in Bushwick and you've been on like Graham Street, like
Yeah,
they
of
always have like
course.
the little stores where they sold fake like things in there. But I
Fake
might have one.
everything.
I don't know if it was real fat head, but it probably was.
Yeah.
Chris,
Yeah,
so
I mean,
on
the-
this journey of like resurrecting or exploding or however you want to position it, what's the thing that's most exciting to you? We'll get into the other side later, but right now, most exciting.
I mean, the most exciting thing is bringing fans closer to their heroes, right? Like celebrating fandom, having a big part of helping, you know, people celebrate their heroes and the teams they love and the characters they love is probably the most rewarding thing for me. You know, changing the culture of this 17-year-old brand was important to me. You know, surrounding myself with really good people. We got a really great staff and continue to surround myself with really good people, smart people. And then it's just, you know, great partners like you guys, right? We use Vanner Commerce.
Yep.
They're absolute killers and great at what they do.
Thank
It's
you.
been great growing that relationship.
makes me happy.
And then for me, you know, selfishly, it's fun to be back in sports again, man. You
Yeah,
know,
of course.
Sports were a big part of my life for a long time. I retired when I was 34 years old and worked in finance for a long time. And it's just so great to be
Good
back.
for you.
Yeah.
Kevin, I should have emailed me. Kevin said, Gary, about 25 of your new book, you're going to call me. I'm not sure if I'm going to call you, Kev, but I definitely want to email you. Email me at Gary@VaynerMedia.com or VFriends.com.
Kev,
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Kevin, if you buy 25 of my books, I'll give you a call right now.
Do it on the spot. The way of the champion. There it is. What are you most excited about?
Storytelling.
Tell me.
You know, where I sort of started in this is understanding the history of this sport that I get to play. That is one of those things where you're passionate about it, you love it, and you want to re-educate, in some cases educate people for the first time. This game's been around for thousands of years. Naismith played lacrosse when he decided to put 2 peach baskets up on either end of the gym and throw a ball between them and call it basketball. Lacrosse is native to North America, and it's incumbent on us as storytellers to reverse sort of the modern presets in place around lacrosse being a private school sport in the Northeast, and that's it.
Yeah.
Storytelling comes through what we do at the league from owned and operated. We have a documentary on Hulu and ESPN Plus. I just wrote this book. I love exploring different mediums and different forms of expressing.
Hold on.
Sometimes complex
Hold on.
ideas.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just saw something.
Yeah.
You walked into this office with a book that is forwarded by Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
You walked into the biggest Jet fans office.
That is endorsed
Oh, man.
by Gary Vaynerchuk.
On the back. Keep going. I just saw that. I'm like, motherfucker, keep going.
Yeah, no, but I mean that's the cleverness that we need to bring to storytelling, you know, and
By the way,
and a lot of self-awareness. Like, you know, there's a lacrosse guy writing a book on the way of the champion, but these are lessons that I've pulled over time with my podcasts, meeting people at events, being inquisitive, and trying to say, okay, that was the way I learned and grew. Let me share that. I mean, I have dozens and dozens of journals. I brought a journal to our first meeting.
Yeah, I remember.
But all that said, if you can't figure out a way to distribute, then, you know, a lot of work just gets buried. So,
By the way, I believe in this the most. So I had a debate with my friends. I grew up heavy into sports and hip hop music. Like literally everything that was just talked about was my childhood. Do you know that I used to buy The Source, read Unsigned Hype, and then just give it to a friend? The only thing I was interested in
Was just
was the
Unsigned
come
Hype.
up. The come up.
I like that.
I was like, I know the fuck Dr. Dre is already. I don't need to read another. I literally used to have this, get The Source
Right.
to read Unsigned Hype and then give it to another buddy, Robin Martz or Ken Scelfo, in school, and was done. And sports, back to storytelling. When I, you know, Jim Brown and lacrosse and all the stories that can be told, I had a bet forever with buddies back that started in early college that women's sports would hit. And my thesis was sports is actually not sports, it's comic books. That if you get heroes,
nailed it.
it changes everything.
Yep.
And the reason the 1982 NBA Finals game between the Lakers and Sixers was on tape delay in America. A 1982 NBA Finals game in this country did not air in real time. It aired at night, and they played golf on CBS because it rated better than the 1982 NBA Finals.
Crazy.
Right? What happened was Magic and Bird, and this country loves a little race undertone.
Yeah.
Right? The white and black guy, that crushed, and then Jordan and went off. UFC, the reason I knew I was right that it would happen was Ronda Rousey sold pay-per-views. UFC, ironically, everyone's all pumped for WNBA, me included, and Caitlin and Reese. Look what happened
They
again.
were a fire starter.
This country is very easy to read. But before that, and even as we sit here today, with all love to basketball, which is a tremendous sport, right now, the sport that puts their female athletes on the same pedestal as their male athletes is UFC. You go to Madison Square Garden and pay-per-view, right, Dust? You go to Madison Square Garden and pay-per-view and you watch the fans, and a co-main event with 2 female fighters, there's no one saying, like, this is kind of as good, or like, yay, or the Olympic soccer team, or cool for the WNBA. No, it's the same.
Yep.
And I always thought it was about superheroes, and Caitlin Clark and Reese, that's a comic book. The villain, the good one, the Steph Curry.
Yeah.
He's a superhero to kids.
Yeah.
All the little white boys who are like 5'5",
Yeah.
they can shoot from half court if they practice, and dribbling you can control. You might not be athletically inclined like you guys, but when I see Steph, I'm like, damn,
Totally. I mean, the WWE has always claimed sports entertainment, and Peter Gruber will go further and say, no, it's not sports entertainment, it's show business.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I was thinking
music,
immediately, like when you were talking about
film,
superheroes,
television.
I was thinking about WWE.
100%.
Yeah.
1000%.
By the way,
Look, they do that.
Look,
they literally...
Look, this
Literally
is why
right
they're on
there,
there.
yeah.
By the way, I'm in full agreement to this whole thing.
Yeah.
I think everyone's in sports entertainment.
Here's the thing about superheroes is they kick everyone's ass, and that is where you look at Ronda Rousey to your call out, Caitlin Clark, Tiger Woods, Serena
It's all the
Williams,
same
Michael
shit.
Jordan, Kobe.
Yeah.
The key is, because we talk a lot about storytelling. I've sat here with you and been like, man, how do we build stars? Right? Everyone wants to build stars. It has to start with the best player, and I think the best player kicking everyone's ass. Like Caitlin Clark scoring 36 points a game. That's the difference between her and Sabrina Ionescu, who is also like a building star.
Yeah. Right.
If you are cementing people, then all of a sudden you can see, the next level.
Yeah.
We live vicariously through.
Yeah.
And I think it's about how you like market it to like kids too. Because I remember when I was coming up, there was like there was heavy on the NFL would have like online games or through their marketing to kids through TV shows. There was a show when I was a kid called like Generation Jets, I think, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And a lot of those were kind of like marketing the characters or including some of the players as superheroes.
There was a Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, Bo Jackson cartoon.
Yeah.
WWE, you remember it? WWE had a rock and wrestling cartoon in the 80s for me.
Space Jam.
Space Jam. Or like when they would include, that's another good one when they would include like professional sports players in like a Marvel TV show or DC
100%.
or just as like a cameo, not even them really
The crossover, the collab.
doing them and doing anything, just like the symbiotics of the names.
In music terms, the feature.
The feature,
You
yep.
know what I mean? All right, now, what are you worried about? Let's be vulnerable. Not some bullshit PR thing for the podcast.
Right.
Like really like either stressed, deep concern, or like completely confused how to figure out right now. What jumps to your mind, top of head, when I say that, Gabe? What it doesn't have to be like super scary, just some either like truly keeping you up because it is scary, or just fucking like a puzzle that you're like, fuck, I've been playing with this fucking puzzle for a year and I still haven't figured it out.
You know what I think it is like right now? So I'm about to turn 28, right? And when I first started on the radar, I was able to see the wider scope of music, right? Because like, I'm coming up. I don't have a lot of money. I'm just listening to what I listen to. I'm in my early 20s. So I see the
You're
music.
raw and pure.
I'm raw and pure, exactly, right? So now it's kind of like I'm at a point now where I built this show up 6-7 years. A lot of the artists who I said I believed in 3-4 years ago are now finally reaching these moments. Like
Mainstream.
in every
Emerging.
interview I do, Cash Cobain and Chow Lee, I was with them boys in 2021 before they had the Ice Spice feature, before they were signed to Tarek at Rolling Loud, like all these different things where they're at, and now they're reaching these levels of success, which I'm so happy for them, right? So then it's like, okay, cool, I'm with them up here now, like, but I have to make sure that I stay down here because, like you said, the come up is where everything is, and that's where the foundation of what I do is so important because it's like the reason why I started on the radar in the first place was because you see all these other incredible hip hop platforms and they're bringing up the top of the top to come rap on their show or to come do interviews, right? And I was like, you know what? Like I always wanted to be in this middle area, right? And be able to touch that top area too, but mostly stay right here and just kind of bring people down and have them in the same place.
Or instead of thinking it's middle, I literally put out a sneaker back in the day with K-Swiss, and the sneaker was called Clouds and Dirt.
Yeah.
I actually think it's once you get to the clouds,
Yeah.
all your work should be in the dirt. Don't be in the middle at all. I think you're saying the same thing by being
Same
able
thing,
to,
yeah, essentially it's the same
but like
thing.
I think of it as clouds and dirt, and to your point, especially in your game,
Yeah. You got to stay current.
bro. Once the streets stop fucking with you,
Yeah.
then it isn't even real anymore.
Right.
Right? Nobody wants to be that.
Right. So the big hurdle now is kind of like keeping my ear to like what's down there, and through that I have a lot of incredible people on my team still who I have
Of course.
like I think people assume that what I do, the A&R work, is all done by me, but Calvin brings incredible people.
Of course.
Rob brings incredible people. John, Toby, who are watching us on in the other room, they all bring. It's all different. Like I say, Calvin brings like the miscellaneous people who I might overlook just because of certain things, right?
Because he's super miscellaneous. Look at him.
You know what I'm saying?
course.
Rob loves real rap. So when I
Yeah.
Rob and John love real rap. So when I need real rappers, they're gonna bring them to me.
Right. They're looking for different. By the way, it's how me and Mike Boyd built this 13
Mike
year.
Boyd sent me Incredible Artists a couple weeks ago. I still
course.
got to get that one done, but
Of course. 'Cause-
same point being.
And I know why Boyd and I had a real marriage on it is he really is in it, as you know.
Of course.
And then for me, I always had the ability to because I would always listen to it.
Yeah.
But I'm really good at understanding America.
Yeah.
And so like for me, I could listen and be like, oh, like I would have that ability to be like, I think they're all gonna like this person.
Exactly.
Not just back to the debates of like, that's not real rap, that's not real. You know how it is.
Well, what do you elaborate on that, both of you
Please.
guys? Because in sports, we have the benefit of a stat sheet and win-loss record, and they say music, television, film
It's art.
is more subjective.
It is.
Yeah.
So, what are you guys looking for in emerging talent?
Look, it's like even when there's a lot of rap battling going on, and people are gonna art is subjective.
Yeah.
To your point, but music has sports in it. It's called how many people fucking listen.
Yeah.
Like when everyone's like, Gary,
Pretty key stat.
they're not really good. I'm like, they have 11 billion downloads.
Right.
I'm like, you may not like them because deep down you're a hater, but the world likes them.
And technology has helped democratize that, but because
But even
before it was just
that-
the record labels, right? They would invest like a studio, or
no,
no?
because now record labels.
lot of these kids are
were the-
independent, to be honest with you.
Record labels were the gatekeepers of what we would hear, but
Right.
once we would hear them, there was still Sam Goody
Yeah,
and
yeah.
whoever bought 11 million albums. Like,
Yeah.
but now it's pure SoundCloud, TikTok.
Yeah.
It's amazing now. Every kid, like now when people are like. I meet with a lot, as you guys probably know, I meet with a lot of emerging kids and a lot that you don't even see, right?
Right.
And they're always like, Gary, you don't get it. Like, like my shit's so fire. Like, honestly though, like people aren't giving me a shot. I'm like, yeah, they are. You're posting your shit out there just like everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm like, people don't fuck with you, and it's a real tough thing to say.
Yeah.
And I of course hedge it with like, for now, if you're telling me you're so, I mean, you two or three are gonna laugh. My shit is so ahead. They haven't caught up with me yet. I'm like, good.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Google
why
Glass.
right?
Good for
Yeah.
you.
I'm like, I say it all the
I'm
time.
with you.
No, you know what I say to them? I'm like, bet. We'll see you in 3 years. Let's see who was right. I think you're not as good as you think you are, or I think you're just an offspring of something worse, and you don't even realize you've been affected by outcasts, but you're 10 times worse.
Because a lot of music is public, the court of public opinion.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like I think a good way, like how people are looking at the Drake and the Kendrick stuff is like, is decided by the court of public opinion, just as any musician. For example, and I've been bringing this up, and Gary, I'm not sure if you probably are familiar with some Baby Kia from
course,
Atlanta.
yeah.
Baby Kia is like, how do I describe Baby Kia? Baby Kia makes like heavy metal, drill, hip hop.
Yeah,
right?
and when I look at that, do you know what I think about all the time? And you may
Hit me.
find this interesting. I don't think people understand how important Lil Wayne is.
That's a fact.
Like, Weezy did shit that people didn't fuck with, but gave people courage
The Rock
to
album.
become variations of.
Yep.
When I look at all that shit that happened since, I don't even think those people exist without him making that leap.
I agree. Like
He
the,
also did skateboard culture. The
Yep.
reason cool urban kids rock Vans, take it all the way back, fucking Wheezy skateboard culture mattered. He co-signed the mutation of two different cultures.
Yeah.
100%.
He matters so much. I think history is going to be unbelievably kind to his influence.
I agree. Like, but my quick little thing about Baby Kia is like Baby Kia makes like this kind of like, it's drill music from Atlanta, kind of like heavy metalist.
It is heavy
DMX
metalist.
inspired as well too, because his whole album
yeah,
cover was
yeah.
the DMX like all bloodied up. But I remember when we do people like Baby Kia, right? Because we cover all different types of genres, which is why On the Radar is so controversial. Because you said like how you could predict how America is. I could predict how my audience is gonna react. Because you have so many different like people watching because of so many different types of hip hop or now music, because we have country music as well that we're working on, that we're putting in one place, that it causes this level of debate. So you post someone like Baby Kia, is very polarizing because then you have different people. You have the Atlanta natives who really like Baby Kia, like Huncho.
Yeah.
Being like, this is fire, right? Then you have some New York people who listen to New York drill, which is it has its similarities. They're like, this is fire. And then you have like the traditional hip hop heads who are like, y'all let anybody on here. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is trash, this is garbage. But then you go to Baby Kia's like let's say Spotify, right? And I don't always like to judge everybody based off their monthly listeners
course not,
sometimes.
of course not.
But he has like,
It's a data point.
But it's a data, exactly. But he has about like 1 to 2 million monthly listeners on Spotify. And then even to the point now where you see, I think my boy TP in Atlanta posted a video of, I feel like it was like Lala videoing her kid watching a Baby Kia video. I don't know if it was Lala. It was some celebrity, right? And there's
Carmelo
like,
Anthony's son. Yeah.
and it was Lala, right? And he made a good point. He's like, yo, like what as we get older, what we deem as good or what we deem as cool, it don't matter. Because at the end of the day, and I've always said this throughout the course of my time doing On the Radar, the kids control the music.
Always. The audience is always right. Chris?
For me, man, it's really staying laser focused. We, as you know, man, we have so many opportunities, right?
Yeah.
With license expansion and category expansion.
So when crippled by opportunity, making the right calls.
Yeah, just staying focused. We have a mantra around Fathead, either hell yes or not yet, right? Like every idea has to have
like
a
that.
business case. Everything has to have
And it's not even
ROI.
yes, it's hell yes. It has
Hell
to be
yes.
emphatic.
Yeah, it's got to be emphatic. So, it's not being overly attracted to this shiny object, the opportunity in front of us. But I think the team's doing a great job, and it's just,
How do you balance staying laser focused with potentially saying no to the most important opportunity that maybe, like I think about this all the time. So much of my success is predicated on saying yes, but my God, have I wasted mine and my collective organization's time? I mean, I've wasted trillions of hours in the last decade. The problem is saying one random yes pays for the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so it's like right? It's an interesting game.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take the bat off the shoulder,
Yeah.
no question.
Fair,
right?
I like that.
You're going to miss on some.
Yeah, of course.
And we had an opportunity recently to take a pretty big bet, and we decided not to do it. It might come back to bite us in the ass. But
Yep.
yeah, man, it's just staying focused. It's just establishing the playbook and making good data-driven decisions. But like I said, sometimes you got to take off the bat off the shoulder and take bets and take risk. And that's how companies thrive and grow. And for us, it's all about growth, right? We got
of course.
incredible IP. We have great partners. We have, kids are being born every day. The
Yes.
custom side of the business is going
Yes.
to be, in my opinion, 10x. It's just staying focused, man. Just
love it.
being real disciplined.
I want to
about how
give
you
a
run
quick shout out to the Twitch family that's on here. Chef Lizette, what's good? Great to see you there. Austin World, great to see you. Paul?
Quickly though on
Please.
that, do you have process that either of you guys put in place when because breaking shit is core to your businesses and new ideas and getting crazy and getting buy-in, but I assume you have a process where you are testing and measuring data before you fully resource allocate? Because I agree, resource allocation, Ben Horowitz would say, is the difference between good and great companies.
Yep.
And we can get sidetracked. So I'm sure you have a way of vetting your ideas, Gary.
I have a far-fetched fucking thing, but I'm putting it on wax, as they say, back in the day. I think intuition is the single most misunderstood in human society. And I believe when we're dead, and there's a young crew in here, so it's gonna take some time, and we're chilling in heaven looking down at the movie down here, I think that we are going to realize that our actual gut, we're starting to talk about gut health.
Yep.
That's starting to hit the scene, which is great because a lot of people are about to get healthy without taking bullshit medicine. So I'm happy about that. And I think that this is the beginning, and I believe that the gut health conversation that's just starting to really hit, that will really mature over the next decade, will lead us to the gut brain part.
Yeah.
My process is to listen to my intuition
Yeah.
over my second brain.
Yep.
Yep.
And I believe that most people over logic. Of course, there's so much math we can use, back to Spotify listens. I love looking at it, but making a call, I don't want to be an Excel sheet. I want to be an operator. And so my process is to truly try not to suppress my gut with over logic. I also rely very heavily at this point in my career on pattern recognition.
100%.
So at 28, I was rocking with intuition. It took me to the moon in a lot of ways. And at 48, I have the luxury of the next 20 years that he's going to go through and be like, oh, I used to fuck this shit up. I'm not doing that shit again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's how I roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, you can only make so many data-driven decisions. Sometimes you have to make emotional decisions, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially in sports, the
Punch
data is
TV, what's
telling
up?
us what products are selling, what sports are popular, what's going to move. But at the same time, you got to make emotional decisions and take the bat off the shoulder as well. And so,
Yeah.
we talk about that with our design team, right? Our design team, Denny's been here 17 years, Nick's been here 10 years, Ryan, I think 3. And they're very good at the product side of the business because they're staying on top of trends and realizing so-and-so just scored a hat trick last night in Montreal. And so we got to take advantage of that trend.
I love that.
It's a combination of making smart data-driven decisions.
You know what I call that? What you just said? The hat trick in Montreal? Day trading attention.
Yeah.
Out. May 21st. Get your pre-orders in right now. GaryVee.com/DTA. Day trading attention. That's what it is. I really believe what you do. I believe to build the story, foundationally it's that, and it's definitely your business. I believe the people that actually know how to day trade attention, keep the ear to the streets, but not just for upcoming musicians, literally everything.
Yeah.
Popular culture and the distribution of content on the 8 platforms that eat up all the attention.
Yeah.
The people that know how to lever from YouTube Shorts to LinkedIn to Snap Spotlight to do you know how many people want to pop in music and sports while I've got you two that only focus on Instagram where there's wide open field on Snapchat Spotlight?
Yeah.
All 3 of you would disproportionately grow on overcommitting to Snapchat Spotlight because there's so much attention there, but nobody's fucking focused on it. Supply and demand.
Yeah.
Inefficiencies.
What makes Snapchat Spotlight so, like, what do you feel like makes it so?
That not one fucking person listening right now is taking it as serious as they're taking their gram. People will sit for 4 hours looking at their fucking grid to make sure it looks proper and won't even post on Snapchat.
Yeah.
And the organic reach is heavy because it's just supply and demand. There's an enormous audience there. Not as big as Instagram.
Right.
Not as big as fucking TikTok. But there's ungodly amounts of kids on that fucking thing.
Yeah, we started digging into Snap at the PLL in a major way over the last year for those reasons. And we just got tight. I mean, my story visiting folks like Gary and other people is I would just go straight to HQ of Meta, of Google, of TikTok, and just try to figure out from the source, because they each have folks who run sports, what to do next. On your question,
Yes, sir.
I would say, I mean, it's exactly what we're talking about. Being able to continue to build wide-ranging experiences in music and fashion and sports and business and entertainment, while also realizing I have this, burgeoning league that requires the day-to-day management. And that's where if I'm thinking about vulnerability, that's where I feel a lot of stress every day. Remember Steve Jobs saying, don't delegate or outsource things that you love to do. And things that I love to do, I've already talked about storytelling. And that's a full-time job. Like getting in with your creative minds and your editors and your directors, your photographers. Like I love getting into that earthy matter.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
That just inspired a real question I'm curious about. Sports. Speed matters. You look at every sport. It's amazing how when the next generation of player comes along that like just has that competitive advantage. Like obviously there's many other things that matter. But fuck, man, speed's fascinating to me because it's a universal language amongst all sports. Like when I look at people that like, it's just, there's a comp there. I've always been fascinated with it because I also believe it is one of the core differentiations in business. When people love storytelling, they can get very caught in being remarkably bad at speed.
Totally.
Because they get real subjective and real bougie and real perfectionist.
And by the way, the creative process never ends. You probably have done it more because you've written all these books, but like you ultimately never finish this.
Never.
Your publisher's like, enough's enough.
So I have a question for you because I know you a little bit. Do you find yourself fast enough in your creative or no?
So I tier it out.
Go ahead.
So the things that are tier 1 for me, the most important, I realize that it's going to take a little bit more time. That means I start earlier because I just really want to get it right.
But isn't right completely subjective to you before it hits the day of art?
Yes, but going to our gut, there's some attention to the art form that I have that I've been spending my career getting better at and meeting with, I think, some of the greatest artists in the world and their ability to tell stories. I study the Pixar guys. And one of the questions I was asking you guys is how important conflict is in music. You mentioned Drake and Lamar.
Yeah.
Like, there's huge conflict in sport.
Yeah.
That's just fucking people loving drama.
They love drama.
Yeah.
They love drama, but it's
Everyone's
manufactured too from time to time. But anyway,
time to time,
Pixar was
most
like,
of the time.
Pixar was
Yeah,
like you
90% of the
have
time.
to have conflict. So anyway, I'm veering off of your question.
No, we're just all jamming. That's the point of all this.
Yeah, I think that that's something that I struggle with more now than I did when we first met. When we first met, I sort of understood the speed of these platforms and how quickly and how important it was to get something out at a fast clip. Now we have great people who do that, and I view my job is to make sure that the touch is there, and the distribution is there, and the right partners are there, and that is man, that's the struggle to your question. When do you decide to stop?
I go for the I don't really refine as much. My team will tell you my post production is incredibly minimal. Like I write copy. I like copy for contextualizing creative.
Yeah.
I think
You love to write copy.
To me it's like
It's amazing, right? But that's a thing that most people probably don't like. You are copywriting. You know, Joe Tai, our largest investor, he still reviews every press release that goes out through Alibaba.
Yeah.
We just all have, I'm sure you guys have little obsessions where people at your company are like, fucking Gary's reviewing the copy on this IG post.
It's not even reviewing. I write every single post of mine. Yeah. The company, I let them do their thing. Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think that there's a lot of confusion. I was very compelled to write this book. I haven't been, like, I'm always compelled, but I would be lying if I didn't say there's a level of like nervous excitement for me for this book, because I feel like when people read it, they're gonna be like, oh fuck, I have no idea what's going on in social media. And I mean people that know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like anyone on right now who's like, well, I don't really do it. I'm talking like people that like do it and they're like, fuck. And not because of any other reason, because I feel like I'm at so top of my game at a moment where shit's changing for real.
Yeah.
Right? Email, like social media that I grew up with was email marketing. Get as many followers as you can, and a certain percentage of them would see your posts.
Yeah.
Now it's pure, each individual piece of content is the variable of distribution. And the fucking best practices are gnarly.
Yeah.
They're fucking hard.
Yeah.
When I tell you it's hard right now, it's hard. The first second, the thumbnail, the copy, the platform is a carousel over reel, Snap versus LinkedIn, YouTube. Like,
where do you comment? How often? How are you trading
How long do
followers?
the comments have to be?
Right, like I'm literally running the #1 agency in the game.
Yeah.
I'm at the top of my game in the mix of the top creators. And I know every day I'm looking at everybody like, we fucking suck. And so like, I know, so like, you know, when, to me, I like speed, I like getting it out. To your point, I'm writing books of the moment. Shit's changed since I wrote this.
Yeah, 100%.
So like, you know, it's really, honestly, I'm just not crippled by it, meaning like, first of all, I fully think it's only as good as what the world says it's good.
Yeah.
Like meaning like I'm
The
completely.
universe has a plan, I think.
I'm not like most artists, and I'm very artistic, but I'm not like most. I care too much about the merit. I love sports too much. So what I mean by that is,
Well, you're a Jets fan.
I love pain. I love pain so much.
Pain.
Pain. By the way, pain. I'm going to take a hard turn. I'm not even going to finish my thought. Do you know what? I'm going to throw this at all three of you. Thoughts on the following sentence. Jump in, any of you. I believe one of the biggest issues we have right now that we could really bring to the forefront and talk more about, all of us, is people have just become unbelievably not comfortable with discomfort.
Yeah, 100%.
Like when I see, I'm so pumped you brought up, like I believe whoever can eat the most shit wins.
So here's what I'll say. I think the two guarantees in life is that we are going to face immense pain. In sports, it's pretty obvious to target. You lose, you get injured, you get cut. And then we have to be world-class at patience. No such thing as overnight success. So it takes a lot of endurance. There's a chapter in my book that said the greats lose a lot. And here's the thing. There's a misconception that Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, all these guys have it easy. Winning comes natural to them. Bill Belichick, 8 Super Bowls, second losingest coach in NFL history. Cy Young, award
let's
named
stay on
after
Bill Belichick
him.
Real quick. I'll let you finish, and then I'm going to jump on Bill Belichick. Go ahead. Cy
You
Young.
want me to finish? Yeah. Cy Young, award named after him, best pitcher, blew the most saves.
In the history of the sport.
Kobe Bryant didn't score a point the first time he picked up a basketball for the entire season. Peyton Manning still holds a record in the NFL, most picks thrown as a rookie, 28. Metallica had album flops. Vincent Van Gogh never sold a painting while he was alive.
Yeah,
Mark
one's my
Zuckerberg
favorite,
had the
by way.
largest.
Say that one more time. I want people to hear it. It's my favorite.
Vincent Van Gogh never sold a painting while he was alive. And in fact, his sister was grinding on his behalf, trying to introduce people to his work for the next 10 years after that until they finally sold one of his paintings.
Insane.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Belichick, not only all those losses, but won nothing pre-Tom Brady or after. Nothing. Just wanted to make that point real quick, just for everybody through listening.
Well, I think the point of saying all that is, Michael Jordan missed 9,000 plus shots. is that the greatest ever actually take on more pain, thereby creating a level of resilience that their colleagues don't have, which is why they win more.
The greatest misunderstanding in our society right now.
Yeah.
It's why I brought it up.
Social media perpetuates it too, because we're all being criticized all the fucking time.
Yeah, but
every day.
But if you're good, if you're strong, okay.
Yeah.
Like again, if Johnny Pants 19 coming on a clip of this video being like, Paul, you suck.
Yeah.
If that's affecting you,
Get in line.
Yeah, you need
I've heard that so many times.
Yeah, dude, if that's and by the way, that affects most people. I just want everyone to hear this. If Johnny Pants 19 coming to your social and being like, you're ugly, you're stupid, you don't know music, you're full of shit, fuck you. If that's fucking you up, you need to take a step back and realize you have a lot of insecurity.
Yeah.
An anonymous person on the internet who's clearly in a bad place themselves comes and leaves a post that says, fuck you, and you're hurting, you're in a very insecure framework.
Yeah.
I see that shit, and I'm in a compassionate framework. I feel bad for Johnny Pants 19. I would never live a life. I couldn't imagine, like when I go to the bathroom after this, like in between meetings, like pick up my phone, let me go through my feed, let me find someone let me say, you're ugly, fuck you.
Yeah.
What is
Go
that?
out of your way.
I feel so bad. You've got that misery loves company. That's like a bad place.
Yeah.
It really blows me like how much like people will take the time out of their day to leave like a negative comment, because like I think about it too, from that perspective of going to the bathroom and just scrolling. I scroll through my timeline all day. I like what I like, and then what I don't like, I'd be like, oh, I don't like that. But I think about it. Because I'm like, why would I waste like 3 seconds of my day telling somebody I don't like what they do? And I don't even look at someone came up to me.
Bro, let me flip it on you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I want you to win, because I got a lot of love for you. That's what I wanted to hear.
Okay.
Start reading them. Here's why. That's the pulse. Get into a place where you're not affected by the negativity. Work on that. That's the workout. Keeping it away, that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Everyone who's like, I'm going to delete the app. I'm like, cool, you could delete your whole fucking phone. That doesn't take away the fact that you're insecure. Read the comments, because it's going to give you a pulse that's crazy. A pulse that's crazy. You'll be unstoppable.
The
Because you're
biggest-
getting a feel.
The biggest
And get to a place where
billboard.
you're like, yo, I feel bad for fucking Brooklyn Rap 19.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
he's watching my shit and trying to tear me down. That's envy. That's jealousy. That's insecurity. He's unhappy. I got love for him, not
hate.
not insecure for me.
I mean, the biggest billboard of the inevitable here is with LeBron James, who I'm sure we could have a great GOAT debate across all sports, but total points, years playing in league, his success, and still every single day you cannot find a post where someone or a lot of people will say that he sucks. He's washed up and he should hang it out. You know, so we've all heard, like, it actually comes with the territory, which is a framework.
You can say Michael Jordan's better. I can understand that logic. Anyone who says he's washed up and should hang it up, that is silliness. Like, the data
ridiculous.
doesn't support that. The man's dropping 20. He's absurd.
Yeah,
that
that's
man's
ridiculous.
absurd.
Yeah. It's projection.
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
projection.
I think one of the things that sports teaches is mental toughness. I mean, and that's the biggest thing that helped me my career in business is that you're gonna fail. You know, you're gonna have misses. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes. But if you're mentally tough and you're resilient, you're gonna battle. And you got to have grit.
What's up, Play Bear?
I think the best leaders in the world have a lot of grit.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the foundation of mental toughness for me. You know, I battled for 11 years. I was a undrafted rookie free agent quarterback out of Yale.
Right, from an Ivy League school, which is cool in some circles, but when you got to the NFL, they're like, this guy.
My rookie year, I used to lie where I went to school. I'm like, oh, I went to school in Connecticut. You know, UConn. And sometimes I'd say yes. You know?
Think about that. I just want everyone to hear that. It's all context. Every room is context. Ivy League school in certain places, remarkable.
Yeah.
But in the NFL,
Yep.
had to say he was from.
It's a good point.
Think about how crazy that
Not
is.
only with fans, but coaches. Like coaches, like
That's what I mean.
Where'd you go to school? What round are you drafted in? It's
I can so identify with that. I used to walk around telling people I was a pro athlete,
yeah.
Right,
not a
'cause they
pro
don't wanna say-
lacrosse player.
That's fat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I get it. Like, we all go through. Like, it's the story of life. But this mental toughness. This is why sports matters to me to the end of time. I believe that the number one mistake society made, that is 100% a major factor, not the only contributor, but a staggering contributor to where we're at right now is 8th place trophies.
Yep.
Yeah.
We told kids as we all came up, we're going to give you a trophy because you should never lose. And we told them losing is bad when losing's everything.
not
Do you know
real
why
life.
I'm a Jets and Knicks fan? I grew up a Yankees fan. And
Because you're loyal?
no, yes, but yes, but there's something else. I grew up a Yankees fan and a Rangers fan. But the reason by the time people got to know me, I was really much loud. I mean, it was Jets with a little bit of Knicks, right? Is because those are the two teams that haven't won for me yet. I like the losing more than the winning.
So good.
Why?
Respect that.
The process is fun
Yeah.
because then it's over. It's a game.
Yeah.
What happens when they win?
I can't even explain to you how significant the interest loss was when Charlie Hayes caught that ball in 96 and I was in the Garden in 94 when the Rangers won the Cup. I stopped watching.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it. You know, this is like a long time ago. I wasn't analyzing my thoughts back then. I just stopped watching. And everything went into the Jets and Knicks. Everything.
I'm curious what you guys think about goal setting, because something that I think about is reframing complicated stuff or emotional stuff. And in sports, we're taught to set huge goals, win a championship, be MVP, be all pro, go undefeated, have 6 points a game.
Yeah.
And inevitably the pain happens, right? It doesn't happen that way. The only sport that I think does it right is golf. They have an up and down,
Yep.
which you have Phil Mickelson hitting this lob shot from the gravel over a tree, taps in par, and everyone's celebrating. He's the second highest grossing golfer of all time behind Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about the shitty tee shot that he just had.
Yeah, exactly.
That whole sport has built a how do you respond, and will celebrate based on how you respond from adversity. No other sport has that. And I think that's amazing. So you have to think about, okay, what is your
to be
up and
fair
down?
on your analogy, and I think golf is very unique, but to be fair on your analogy, you're talking about it within the play
Yeah.
versus analyzing it overall, meaning we love when people get off the canvas within the fight. If they go on to lose 4 fights in a row and fall off.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You're talking within. I would say within, it's our favorite thing in sports. The reason people will watch sports all the way through in a blowout is what happened to me in my favorite sports moment of all time, the Monday Night Miracle. I went to the Jets-Dolphins game. My brother was in 8th grade. The Jets are losing 30-7. 30-7 in the 4th quarter. My mom calls my cell phone and says, AJ has school tomorrow. This game's over. Bring him home. I'm like, Mom, I don't fucking miss plays, and hung up. And we had to sit down. My cousin Bobby left at halftime, drove from the fucking Meadowlands to Queens, went to sleep.
Yeah.
When I called him and said, when the Jets came all the way back, I'm like, can you believe this shit? He's like, well, he's like, he was sleeping. He left the game, went to Queens, and was sleeping, and I woke him up. All for that chance of the comeback with him. But I would just say the analogy there, right?
Totally. And you know, half
Like
of the
Jordan
100
Spieth
million
right now.
people that were watching the Patriots and the Falcons were sleeping, and the television kept running.
Yeah.
When the Pats came back, which had to do with the way Bill Belichick prepares.
You want
But
a
what
fun
I'll say
fact?
is,
You want a fun fact?
Yeah, tell me.
I did not watch that game.
That's what I'm saying.
I hate
And
the
you're a
Patriots.
Super
I hate
Bowl
the,
nut.
I hate the Patriots so much that
That's
the
why.
last 3
Okay,
Super
fine.
Bowls that the Patriots were in, I didn't even watch it. I didn't watch a single play of Giants Patriots both Super Bowls. I have no idea. I know what happened, but not really.
Yeah. Well, because
That's
I
insane.
follow his evaluation of Super Bowl commercials, and
Yes.
we're going to buy a Super Bowl commercial as we continue to generate revenue, because it's a fucking great buy. Now, what I'll say about getting up and down is, you can pull that out of a game.
Yep.
And you can start the season 0-4 and say, okay, this is actually when we're going to be judged, how we respond. You can have a shitty season, which I've had plenty of. Usually the year after, I have my best, because it's like, okay, this is what I believe is when champions stand out and they separate.
I'm so interested. Who are the 5 best modern last 60 years lacrosse players of all time?
Last
you're-
6 years,
6-0.
Gary Gate, I think the GOAT, Dave Petramala, Mikey Powell, Kyle Harrison. I throw my hat in the ring.
I love it. It's so cool.
Nice.
I was thinking about like the up and down that you guys were just. I was trying to think of it from like what would be a modern reference in like a music sense. And Gary, feel free to chime in here because I'm interested. I think Gunna is like the perfect hip hop example.
And you know how I feel about him.
How do you-
I love him. I mean,
Yeah.
he was in this office when he had like 8 that. Like, back when he was hot before all the drama, I probably got 50 DMs a day being like, I still can't believe you were the human that put me on it. I love that kid. That's a good one.
I think that's the perfect, because like you have someone who's at like the height of their career. Pushin P just came out with Drake,
On
like
fire.
literally has like everybody saying Pushin P. Everybody got the little P emoji in their bio now,
Everyone.
their name on Twitter, and then the whole Young Thug thing comes
Yeah.
down. Everybody goes to jail. Gunna eventually gets out 6 months later, a year, however month
Yeah.
later,
Yeah.
and he has his back against the wall. It's like him versus everybody. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, like, you had like the Drake 20v1 where Gunna was like everybody versus Gunna, right?
Correct.
And then now you're kind of looking at where Gunna is now and what his last body of work did. And he only did 2 shows for that last body of work.
Yep.
And he sold out both of them. He sold out Barclays Center.
Yep.
And everybody who I know who went to that Barclays Center show said it was one of the best shows they've ever been to in
He
their
killed
life.
it.
And he got his new album coming out this Friday. And it just kind of goes to show. And I think Future's dropping a mixtape this Friday too.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like that little conversation on if it's on purpose, if it's not on
Mm-hmm.
purpose. You know, they used to have the same management, whatever. But like this is like another one of those tests for Gunna this week.
You know what it is? Sports, music. This is a good way to wrap up. And I want to give you guys a final shout out. Please push anything you want people to know about or anything you want to say. So I'll do this rant, give you a second to think about what you want to say. What's really cool about this combo and how you just jumped in on that and what we've just been talking about, it's life.
Yeah.
It's fucking life, right? So anybody you know, even as young as some of you all are in this room, if I say the following, some years are fucking epic, and some 3-year windows rock, and then some 2-year windows are adversity. It's just the fucking game, right?
is hard.
Yeah, nobody is like it's just like when people are like envious of people, I'm like, you don't know what's going on in their head or their house.
Nope.
You just don't. And I got fortunate. I worked very hard in my life to come from coast to coast, from fucking studio apartment the size of this office in Queens with 7 people living in it, to I'm in rooms and doing things that I could have, I could have imagined it because I actually really thought it was gonna happen for me. But I'm grateful for. And what I can tell you is, now that I spend a lot of time rubbing elbows, clouds and dirt, I'm in the trenches, which I love way more than the bougie penthouse. But when I'm in the bougie penthouse, I like it too for different reasons. But what I see is a lot of people are unhappy.
Yeah.
And when you realize the most famous and the most wealthy are hurting and it's not fun, it starts to reframe your whole world.
Yep.
There's just no comp to it. And so I think what we're talking about with Gunna, it's the ebbs and flows, right? There's in music, there's unlimited things going on with famous people in music right now. And there's just moments where it's good, and there's moments where it's bad. But back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier, and then I'll give you all the floor. It's back to how much people can eat shit. There's a lot of people that go through what Gunna goes through, and they fold like a chair and disappear
fold
off the face of the earth, and they're ghosts. They live in Dominican Republic, they start a new life, and they're out. And then there's people like Gunna who've got in their fucking stomach and like, fuck that. This is who I am. And I just think that's what life is.
For sure.
That's real. What would you like to
I mean,
say?
dude, I would say letting go, dealing with pain, losing, it's an ongoing practice. It never stops. And when I think about life's trajectory, we all wish it was like this, but it's really like this, maybe, and you fall back, and you push forward again, then you go real deep down. So understanding the journey, being empathic to what you're saying, loving the process. And if you can get really sick like Gary does and love the losing, that's a fucking superpower. If I heard one,
bro,
I'd like to play lacrosse with you. You should have been on my team.
Bro, it's so good.
Because we lost a lot, and then we won a lot because we learned how to embrace how to respond
Do you
to
know
losing.
what my favorite thing in the world is? Pick up basketball, teams get made, and my team gets blown out first game. The excitement I get for the next game is it's so sick.
Yeah.
Like literally when we shoot for teams, because I play with a bunch of the same general people, like once in a while, and we really shoot for teams, whatever it is. And like usually it's gonna be kind of even out, but sometimes I'm on the team that should sweep and crush all 4 games. But there's nothing like when I know I'm on a far inferior team, and especially if we get blown out the first game to 15, and then we set up for the next game. That second right before game 2 starts, I don't know if I have more joy in my life.
Yep.
I'm so hyped to try to figure it out, to switch up the matchup, to pull, obviously, unlike you two, I loved and played sports all the time, but I didn't have the physical attributes. So everything I accomplished was always mindset. It was always like pulling on people's shorts. It was always like poke 'em in the eye. Like, it was always 94 Knicks shit.
It's 100% mindset. So I'll hit this book and I'll pass to you. But
Please.
just quick response on that is, we talked a little bit about hate and the commenters and the trolling and stuff. What I want to remind everyone is when you reach a level of success like you three, you've proved a lot of people wrong. That hate was actually valuable to you.
Fuel.
It was your fuel. And for those of us that go, if you notice yourself stepping back because of it, you've taken the wrong lane, and you can just switch back and use it to your advantage.
Piss me off.
This book is available everywhere now. It just came out this week. Thanks for the endorsement. And
Honestly, everybody, no bullshit. You know I believe this. I think the weirdest thing in the world is books. I'm going to say why. It's like $20 and like real people like put real effort. It's like such a crazy arbitrage. There's companies paying us consulting fees in this company right now of millions of dollars that like this is a pure form of what I'm trying to tell them to do.
Yeah.
That well, my company's I am convinced that this is a good book because I know you too well.
Yeah,
I don't even have to guess.
yeah, I put my life into it, and that's a special experience. Whether
Say it out loud one more time, the full title.
It's called The Way of the Champion: Pain, Persistence, and the Path Forward. And I still remember, to
Pre-order it
Gary's
everywhere.
point,
Or buy it, it's
reading,
out now.
I think it was in Crush It, where you talked about a little bit of what you were saying here. But if your passion is, was it worms?
Yes.
Something in that, right? Like you will figure out how to build a business from loving worms.
Yep.
Longer debate, but
It's
I
real.
found my passion. I was lucky to find it, and things that get me excited. I pursue it for a living, and a lot of those lessons are in
Good
here.
stuff. Chris.
Fire.
First of all, I'm excited to read your book. I think you're a special guy, and looking forward to learning from your book.
Thank you.
The thing I want to leave is Fathead's back, baby.
I love it.
We're back.
Fathead.com.
Love it.
Fathead.com.
Yo, go buy a fucking Fathead right now, everybody. Put this podcast on pause. Go buy a Fathead of your favorite character.
That's right.
Go ahead.
It's an incredible brand. We got a great team. We're utilizing technology to take this brand to new heights, and it's a beloved brand. And so we're excited to be ingrained in culture, back in the conversation again, and big plans ahead.
Proud of you, bro.
Fire. We just started our country music series over there on the radar. We spent 2 weeks down in Nashville shooting country. We shot like 80 country artists. We're dropping one a day. So we just started that. We also have Shabuzi coming up on the show real soon too, which we're going to be putting out. And we put out some of the incredible artists who were also on Beyonce's album, like Raina Roberts. And then we have a one with Britney coming as well. On the Radar Records, we have some tapes coming out with some of the Sexy Drill guys. I got a collab tape with Charlie and Lonnie Love. Got a big tape on the way with like Cash Cobain and all of them. And I actually came here right after filming Chef G's first day home freestyle. So
Let's
Chef
go.
G coming out tomorrow too. So a lot of exciting things on the way, man.
Beast.
Just
And one
keep
more
pushing
time, I want to
forward.
make sure people can see
Keep
it. Where,
pushing forward.
where
And
can
I'm
they
going
find
back
you?
after this.
Where can they find you?
At On the Radar Radio on everything, and at Gabe P NYC on everything. Yep.
Appreciate you, man, being here. Thank
You
you.
guys are the best.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Appreciate y'all.
Good times.